Hello and welcome back to Desert DIY. If you are new here, my name is Corey. Today I have a trash to treasure find for you guys that I'm going to be flipping into a beautiful and high-end looking kitchen island. I was really inspired by an Instagram account that is called Vintage Porch, where Natalie does the most beautiful projects and decorating in her home, and she does it with stripped down bare wood and beautiful different marble and stone tops on her pieces. And it's just very unique, the style that she has. If you haven't heard of her, you should go check her out because she makes really interesting and beautiful things, stuff that you've never seen before. So here's the piece that I am starting out with this trash to treasure flip. It was something that I found on Facebook and nobody was wanting it. Somebody was giving it away, and I waited to see if other people were going to comment saying that they would like to have it, and nobody did. So I thought, this is perfect. You guys know that I love the outcast pieces of furniture. And I also have this dresser that I got off of an auction, but it has a marble top on it that is not the right size for this dresser. It is like just a random marble top that they put on here. I don't know where it came from, but I think that it's going to be a really great top for this kitchen island. So I'm going to bring it out of my messy garage and start to get the work done on this thing. I'm gonna go for a stripped down bare wood look on this entire base, and I noticed it has a heart cut out here, which is just not gonna go well with the look that I'm going for. I want it to look kind of primitive and just very old, even though this is probably not an antique. Now that I've cleared off all the junk that was on here, you can see what this marble top looks like. The reason I got this whole dresser very cheap is probably because of the fact that the condition of this marble is so bad. That is not dust that you see here. It is some kind of like acid that has, I'm guessing maybe they spilled like a chemical stripper on there or some kind of acid on it, and it ate into the marble. So I personally don't have the tools that it takes to like refinish this marble, but it's still a good countertop choice because I can just refinish that marble in a different way. But here I found out that it's not gonna fit, so that was a huge bummer. But you know what? That is just one of those things where as you're working, you just have to get creative and think of ways to make things work or find new things to use that will help kind of create your vision and make your vision come to life. But what I'm gonna do is raise this base up to about counter height. So it's 30 inches right now, and it needs to be closer to 36 inches because that is how tall a kitchen counter is. So I need to find a way to raise this up since that counter is not very thick, so it didn't really add that much to the height of this thing. I need to find a way to raise it up, and I think I have a really good idea of how to do that, and I will show you later on. But let's forget this marble top off for now since I do need to get it all refinished. And let's start shoring up this base and making it into the right size and shape that I'm going to need in order to, one, fit that countertop on there, and two, make it as high as a kitchen island. The first step in doing that is to trim those tops, like the top stand part for the table, as well as those legs on the bottom. And I just eyeballed it looking down on the top because I know for sure that I want to cut it on the bottom where that design kind of goes down into a slope. I'm just going to cut it right before that slope. And it ended up being about 1 inch from where that brace is, and that makes it really easy for me to measure it all the way around and get everything cut the exact same size. Since this wood here was really thick, I had to get creative in how I was going to cut it. So I'm using my scale saw right now, and then I'm going to follow that with a sawzall. And if I were to have tried to use a miter saw, I would have had to take it apart. So I personally think this was the best choice, especially since I'm going for a rustic look. It wouldn't really matter if it wasn't a perfect cut because I can sand it smooth and it would still look really cool with the look that I'm going for. But I need some advice from you guys because I have some weird issues with this battery on this skill saw. So anytime that the saw has like stress on it, like I'm cutting a harder wood like I am right now with this oak, the battery like malfunctions and shuts it off as if the battery died. And you'll see it do that right here. Why is it doing this and what's the deal? I don't know if I can like return it. It's a Milwaukee brand. I'll have to look into what the warranties are. But this is the only battery that does this, and so you kind of have to baby it while you're using the saw and go extremely slow so that there's no stress on the saw because it just keeps shutting down on me and it drove me nuts. I eventually changed the battery out, but let me know in the comments if you know why it's doing this, if there's something I can do about it. If you guys watched my Ugly Duckling challenge, you may already know who the winner of the fall 2022 Ugly Duckling challenge was. If you don't, I posted the winning video over on my community tab on my channel, but the winner is Jay from Flipping Drawers, and this video today is in collaboration with him, and I will show you guys what conversation that we had leading up to this collaboration with him. We did a video chat and kind of talked about a way that we wanted to work together on creating some videos that were inspired by each other's channels. And I was really inspired by the way that he restores things and he finds like super junk things on the side of the road. In fact, that was why he won the Ugly Duckling Challenge, because his piece started out so terrible and he restored it so beautifully. So I can't wait to show you guys that awesome conversation that we had. Alright, so now I've got it down smaller. I've also got an idea of how beautiful this wood is going to be. I found a random piece of wood in my front yard the other day, and I think it's actually going to be perfect for this project. I have no idea where it came from. Maybe the landscapers? I really don't know. Yeah. I'm gonna cover that up. It's gonna be great. One, two, 3.5. Actually, that's not straight, is it? Cut that straight, and then I'll put an X on that. I measured it out and was about to go make the cut when I noticed all of these nails in here. So this piece is not going to work because I don't want to hit a nail. But I do have some pieces of wood in my garage that came with the house. I'm gonna check it out. I found some strips of plywood that were in the same wood tone as my piece that I'm doing, so I just cut out some pieces on there and then I lined them up on the piece to see exactly what size I wanted them to be as far as the width goes. Then I just cut off an inch at a time and checked to see which size was going to look the best. Once I had the right size, I glued and clamped these pieces on, and then my husband came in later while I was feeding the baby and he used the nail gun to really secure these pieces on there. This base also had a little bit of a wobble to it, so I wanted to glue it up and clamp it and make sure that it was nice and sturdy before I added that heavy marble top. Since I have to let that sit for about 24 hours, I'm going to start working on this marble top. I experimented with my orbital sander and some 60 grit sandpaper on this stone. I know that marble is a very soft stone as far as stones go, but I didn't think this was going to work, and it did. I have heard that you have to use like carbide sandpaper, which is a little pricier, and I just didn't have any at the time and didn't feel like going to buy some. So I just pulled out my orbital and tested it out with some regular old 60 grit, and it did a great job on these edges. It's definitely not enough to have sanded the whole top down and got rid of that big acid stain that is in the middle here, since I would have had to sand pretty deep into the piece to get rid of that if it was even possible. But I'm just scuff sanding it and smoothing the edges out so that I can go over it with my paint finish. I'm doing a faux stone look, and the base coat is going to be done in this Rust-Oleum enamel paint. I'm doing it in a gloss white, and after I apply a really good thick coat of this, I'm going to go over it with a stone look spray paint, and I'll explain how I do that when I get there. Since that enamel has to take quite a long time to dry, I thought that was a great time to head to the store and get that Stone Look spray paint. This is what it looks like in the store. It's almost $10 a can, but I'm not even going to need one full can, and I can use the rest on a different project too, which is really great for saving costs. You'll see in my conversation that I have with Jay, I am going to be donating the proceeds of this piece to somebody, and I'll explain that later. But the feet of it, I'm going to use these 2-inch ash squares and some dowels to build it up taller. Like I was saying, it needs to be 36 inches. And look at the cost of actual feet compared to that big piece that I could just cut down to fit. That's almost $7, and the like huge piece was only $5. So no brainer there. And then I added some 2-inch wheels to that design. All of this was from Lowe's, although I will try and find some of this stuff on Amazon and link it down in my description box below in my Amazon store for you guys. But when you're spraying this Stone Look spray paint, you have to do it from really far away. And the camera angle here kind of makes an illusion of me being pretty close up to it, but I'm about 2 feet away while I'm spraying this. The reason for that is you want the little particles, stone look things in here to really be put on lightly and built up slowly. I also, about halfway through this, realized that the better way of putting it on evenly is to apply it while you're spraying in circles, like really smooth, light, far away circles. And you're going to just build up the look of this as you go and like watch how it builds and hit places that need more or less and just customize it to that piece. Now it is time to show you guys that awesome conversation that Jay and I had about this collab.
How are you? I've never
I'm,
actually talked to you like face to face.
I know, that's pretty cool. I feel like we have though.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've seen you a million times in your videos and stuff. So,
Well, the other day I was on Facebook Marketplace and I
mm,
saw this like base to a dining table, and it was like the epitome of those pictures that you usually have of the things you find on the side of the road.
mm.
And I thought of you and I saw it and was like, I'm gonna see if I can do something as good as he can do, because he's always blowing everybody away with his
Come
amazing
on.
restorations.
I think I've got a piece that might work for that.
Do you?
It's
Well,
not it's not very trashy, but I'm gonna completely redo it.
do you think you would be up to donating it or like selling it and
Mm,
then donating the money for it so that I'm doing a little bit of what you do and you do a little bit of what I do?
sure. Yeah, sounds good. Actually, I do have someone in mind. It's a single dad who I think he just got his own place, and he's looking for furniture because he asked me if I had some,
Perfect.
and he wanted to buy it from me. So I think I might just give it to him.
You're gonna surprise him?
Yeah.
Oh, that's gonna be so cute.
So I
I
think
wonder.
that's what I'm gonna do. Do
I
you have
think
an idea?
I think
Um,
what I want to do is I've seen these videos where people go out to eat, and here in the United States, people who are servers get paid mostly in tips.
yeah.
And so I was thinking of taking all that money and dropping a huge tip on
Oh
somebody's
wow,
check when we go out to eat. And I've
that's nice.
always wanted to do that, so I think I might do that this time.
Well, as a person who used to work as server for many years, I can tell you that that's gonna make someone's week or month.
Well, good. I
Um,
hope so. I'm really
yeah,
excited. I don't think I'm going to record it though, because I think that would make them feel weird.
yeah, and probably not very genuine.
Yeah, exactly. So I think I'm just gonna tell the story of it later.
Oh, yeah.
We actually talked for quite a while. It's really neat to be actually friends with other YouTubers, and Jay, I would definitely consider as a friend of mine. But now it's time to get back to the work. I wanted to show you guys what stripper I'm using. It in the instructions it says do not use it with a dry pad or you will cuss and become quite angry. Always scrub wet. But this is a new brand I've never tried before. It's called QCS. I'm not sponsored. I saw it actually on Vintage Porches Instagram. She uses it to strip her pieces down, and since I am inspired by her design style, I thought I would use the product that she uses since she swears by it that it's a great stripper. And it was a really hot day that day, so I had to really keep applying it a lot because it kept drying faster than I could strip it. But if you read the instructions, it tells you everything you need to know, and it is more environmentally friendly, less toxic, which I love. And I'll definitely be trying it again. I got a lot of the finish off, and when I had to go inside to feed the baby, I just decided that I would sand the rest off, and my husband helped me out with some of that as well. I didn't film myself sanding, but I did have him film the parts that he did. It was just when you have 4 kids, you just got to make things work as far as filming and work goes. So I love that he is so willing to help me with this kind of stuff. The next thing he's using here is a gun that is meant to do like soda blasting or sandblasting, but we were using walnut shells because that is what we had on hand, and the walnut shells were not doing a very good job, and I honestly don't really recommend this gun to you guys. We got it from Harbor Freight, and I don't know why. It's gravity fed, so this shouldn't happen, but for some reason it just won't spray the walnut shells sometimes. Like you have to shake it and move it all around and do all these different tricks to get it to actually spray, and it's very annoying and irritating. So I would not recommend this really. I think part of the problem was the fact that we were using walnut shells, which are larger than sand or baking soda, We've used baking soda in this gun before and it worked better than it did. We still had issues with it not spraying and having to shake it and things, but it worked better with baking soda. And I do want to try it with sand. It's still something that I'm going to use, especially when I have to sand fine details. But I don't know. I just don't, I can't recommend it to you guys because it's not that great of a piece. Now that it's all sanded and I cleaned it up, it's time to make those legs. I'm doing it inside because I have a lot of children and some of them are very young, and so this way I can work on my projects while my children are there with me safely while my husband is at work. And what I'm doing is cutting it at 3 inches. It's gonna be a little bit less than 36 inches in total height, but I didn't want it to have some really skinny leggy legs on it. I just wanted it to look natural, not as though I was only putting these on to make it taller. It has to look like it's meant to be there. And I'm going to be using these dowels to attach it on there, so that way I don't have any kind of screws showing or having to put any kind of like braces, or I didn't want it to look ugly. I don't know how else to say that. But I glued the heck out of this thing and made sure that it was going to be really strong and sturdy. And then once I apply these blocks on using the dowels, then I just screw the holes and attach the wheels from there. I brought in the countertop and I am ready to make it look a little bit more realistic as stone. The stone spray worked really well, but it just wasn't real enough for me. I guess I could have left it that way, but I just couldn't. It was missing something. And I was experimenting like I always do to figure out a way to make it look more like granite, like I have in the background here in my kitchen. And since I rolled it into my kitchen, I could look at the granite and kind of get an idea of how to create that speckly, real stone look while I'm standing there doing this. And I just did it by hand and did it in a way that worked visually with the shadows and light spots of that spray stone that I did before. And this is how it turned out in the end. I definitely need to seal this, and I'm going to use some polyacrylic in a matte finish to seal it, but it's not going to have the same durability as stone when you do this. So you'll have to treat it as though it is a piece of furniture when you're using this. And it would be kind of like having a wood island. You're not going to put anything like super hot on it or um, destroy it with anything scratchy, things like that. Although it will be very durable though. After sealing it, I felt it with my hand and felt that it was still a little too rough, so I went with some sandpaper over it again and then sealed it the same way, did 2 more coats of clear. Are you ready to see the final reveal? Here it is. And since I am a real person with a normal life, I can never do anything without either my dog or my child being there. And in this case, it will be both. And you'll see my son come in right now with a yardstick because he just had to be a part of it. And as I'm doing this voiceover, I have my daughter in my lap as well. So that's just real life. I hope you guys enjoyed this makeover. And please go check out Jay's makeover that he has. I'm going to have it linked in the description box down below. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you liked what you saw, don't forget to hit subscribe down below. See you next time. Bye.